The French would take the lessons of the birth of Israel several steps further. The French, who had held Algeria since the 19th century, did not govern their colony from afar. They had been arriving steadily for decades, and Algerian culture was actively being displaced by the French way of life. The liberal attitudes of the French often offended the mostly Muslim.
Emerged as almost the public face of the FLN, as the one figure that, towards the end of the conflict, became instantly recognizable both inside Algeria and outside.
It was Ben Bella who would take terrorism in its fearsome new direction, targeting civilians.
Me. I gave orders to kill the French. I gave those orders. The French had everything. They had everything. You know, they had the riches, the land. We had nothing.
The unrest began in the countryside. The FLN...
Because we had nothing. I fought against it with what I had.
It was deadly urban warfare, centered in the capital city of Algiers.
They resolved to stage a very dramatic, almost spectacular campaign of bombing in the city itself to marshal international attention on their cause. And to do that, they unleashed a very lethal campaign of bombings of French student cafeterias, airline terminals, bus stations, sports stadiums, precisely where people congregated.
They even sent Muslim women carrying bombs into French cafes. The FLN's campaign of terror hit civilians where they least expected it.
Their strategy by staging multiple attacks.
There were 250,000 French soldiers. 200 to 250,000 in the beginning. Very well armed, but for a very bad cause, it is not much. Confronted with a few determined people who are fighting for a cause, it does not matter much. It took a long time. It was terrible.
So terrible, and the French response so powerful, that a weakened FLN virtually ceased the bombings. The tactics of terror appeared to have failed. The Battle of Algiers had ended. And the French were victorious, or so it seemed.
Even though the French may have won this war, this battle militarily, they lost it politically, because the means that they resorted to so alienated the French population back home that they began to believe that if this is the price we have to pay to keep Algeria, it's not worth it.
Newspapers were filled with lurid accounts of the French atrocities. Public revulsion led to an international outcry and political pressure.
The opinion of the international community was important. Even America helped us. Kennedy called for Algeria's independence. Many countries helped us.
Of Algeria, that country's first.
He proved an effective leader in shepherding the FLN, which I think is no mean feat, from a revolutionary organization into a bona fide government of a sovereign state that assumes power and also takes its place amongst the world's countries.
Ultimately, Ben Bella's presidency would not last long. Amid continued instability, he was overthrown in a bloodless coup after only 3 years in office.